Hi everyone, Sumit Chandra this side, and I welcome you to our channel Solution Bridge Network and one-stop solution for all your Power Platform tutorials. In today's video, we are going to learn how to set up the Power BI on-premise gateway, which allows us to connect on-premise data sources such as SQL Server, Oracle database, or Excel and CSV files to Power BI in the cloud for real-time reporting. Let's walk through the installation and configuration step by step. The Power BI Gateway allows data to flow securely between your on-premise data sources and the Power BI service in the cloud. Gateways are two types: personal gateway for individual use and enterprise gateway, which is more suitable for large scale environment where you have multiple data sources or need centralized management. Before we dive into the installation, make sure you meet the following prerequisites: a Power BI service account, access to Windows machine, either a server or desktop, and admin rights to install the software. Now, first, let me show you how we can download the gateway. To download the installer in Power BI service, we can click on this download icon, and here you will get data gateway. Let's click on data gateway. Once we click on data gateway, as we discussed earlier, these are the two types of gateways: download standard mode and download personal mode. And here you will find the differences between standard and personal mode. So in standard mode, the gateway will be used for Power BI, Power Apps, Azure Logic Apps, Power Automate, Azure Analysis Services, and data flow. On the other hand, personal mode supports Power BI only. Standard mode will allow us serves multiple users with access control per data sources. Standard modes allow us direct query support as well and support to live connection to analysis services. So these are the main difference between standard mode and personal mode. I already downloaded the installer, so let me install it now. So this is the installer. Let me right click on it and I will run as administrator. Assume this system as a server. So now I need to click on yes. We need to accept the terms and condition. Then we need to hit on install button. Once we click on installed, the installation process will be started and it will take some time to configure the installation. You can see now the installation has been completed. So now we need to log in with the proper ID and password. So let me put my Power BI admin ID here and let me click on sign in. From here, you need to select the appropriate account and authenticate it. Now it will ask you register a new gateway on this computer. So if you are installing your gateway for first time, this will be your option. But if you already installed the gateway in some other system and you wanted to transfer your gateway into some other system or server, that time you need to migrate and restore your old gateway. So that time you need to select this option: migrate, restore, or take over an existing gateway. For this, we will require a secret key. So as I installed it for first time in this computer, I will go with the first option. Let me click on next. Here we need to define the gateway name. So let me put Power BI gateway. Here we need to put the recovery key, and in future if we wanted to reinstall this gateway in some other server, then this key will be required. So let me put the recovery key. We need to retype it. You can enable this option, add to an existing gateway cluster, if you wanted to add this gateway into the gateway cluster. So if you have multiple gateways in your organization, you can add this gateway in the gateway cluster. Let me click on configure. You can see our gateway has been installed and we have successfully logged in with our user ID and password. Now we need to configure it in Power BI service as well. Let me move to Power BI service now. Let me show you from where we can see our gateway. To see the gateway, we need to click on setting icon. From here, we need to click on manage connections and gateways. Here we need to click on on-premise data gateways. Once you click on on-premise data gateway, you can see the gateway that we have configured, and from here you can check the status. So you can see our gateway is online. If you wanted to share this gateway with other users, you can add users from here. So you need to click on this triple dot. From here you need to click on manage users, and here you can type the username to whom you wanted to share this gateway, or you wanted to give them the privilege to use this gateway. So let me select Sabri, and here you can select the user type. So you wanted to add that user as connection creator with resource, or admin based on the requirement, and you can share it. Now let me come to the workspace now. This dashboard is connected with a local Excel file. So if we come here and click on schedule refresh, here you can see our database credential is inactive. So we need to configure it properly. Once we installed gateway, we need to configure the data sources that the gateway will connect to. To configure the data sources, we need to click on gateway and cloud connections. Here you can see the gateway name, and in action button we need to click on this icon to view the data sources. Let's click here. Once you click here, you can see the file path where we have this file. So we need to click here, add to gateways. Once you click here, now we need to put a connection name. So let's say, for example, my connection name is Excel data. This is my path. Here we need to select the authentication method. So our authentication method will be Windows, and we need to put the Windows ID and password. And here we need to select the privacy label. Let me click on create. So now we can successfully created the connection. Now we need to map it. Again we need to click on gateway and cloud connections. Here now you can see we need to map it with our connection that we built now. So let me select Excel data here, and we can click on apply. Once we hit on apply, now you can see our data source credential will be activated, and from here we can configure schedule refresh, or we can manually refresh it. So though it is a on-premise data, now it will allow us to refresh it from Power BI services. Once your gateway is connected and running, you can manage and monitor it from Power BI service. You will see the status of the gateway, configure data refresh schedules, and even check logs for troubleshooting issues. Now let's talk about some common issues users face with Power BI on-premise gateway. Sometimes you may encounter error like a failed data source connection or gateway not responding. One common issue is credential error. Make sure your credentials are correct in the gateway management section. Also, if your organization uses a proxy, you might need to configure your gateway to work with that proxy. Some best practices and tips to manage the gateway. For better performance, especially with large datasets, consider using a dedicated server for your gateway. Also, keep gateway updated to avoid any compatibility issues with Power BI. That wraps up our today's tutorial on configuring the Power BI on-premise gateway. If you have any questions or run into issues, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, hit the like button and press the bell icon for the new video alerts.